Music is one of my passions as well as film. I love music of all genres, but something about jazz music has always impressed me. It's not my favorite genre, but the skill and dedication it takes to be good is unmatched, and I respect anyone with the lung power to play a trumpet. It's hard to learn how to read music. You gotta practice every day, and collaborations can be complicated. But the love of the game is strong with jazz musicians, and we've seen many of the greats go through it during their careers. Probably most famously Charlie Parker, one of the best of all time. We all know the legend Spike Lee loves music, and he's made a few movies about music now. Today, my boy Marlon Bellamy requested Mo Better Blues, 1990, directed by Spike Lee, starring the great Denzel Washington, Wesley Snipes, and Spike himself. Before we get too deep, I gotta do a little housekeeping. Guys, if you have a good time during our conversation, would love if you would consider subscribing so we can have more like this. If you had a decent time but you're not ready to take that step, that is totally fine. Maybe you can just slap a like on it and help me out. If you're a cinephile, follow me on Letterboxd if you enjoy the commentary. Now that boring stuff is out of the way, I was watching this movie, and the thing I caught right away that I liked was Bleak, the lead character. Like it or not, he is so realistic to a man so dedicated to what they do. Bleak, played by Denzel, is a character I really liked, even though he's extremely flawed. This is really a character study on a man and what he will and won't let come between him and his music. A man who is complex, but honest and disciplined. A man that on the surface seems like he has a one track mind, but he actually deeply cares for those around him. His values and morals can come into question, sure, but I think his loyalty to his craft and his friends is unmatched. Because I could be wrong, but I think one of the biggest themes in this movie is loyalty. Loyalty is an interesting word because I think it means something different to everyone. Bleak is someone that some may not consider loyal. Now, forewarning, I will be slightly spoiling this movie, so if you haven't seen this, I would maybe watch it before you finish this up. Okay, so Bleak in this movie has a lot going on. He leads his own band with a lot of personalities to juggle. His manager is his best friend, and he's got his own issues, including being a terrible gambler and a terrible negotiator. And Bleak's got two girlfriends to juggle. Now, that last part is what likely gets most people, but we can argue this. Bleak has pretty much told these women his one love is really his music. These women knew about each other in a don't ask, don't tell type of thing. The girls just didn't want to hear about or see each other. He didn't lie to them. They chose to keep dating and dealing with him. I'm not saying this is right or okay, but I don't think it makes him unfaithful or his loyalty should be questioned. He was honest with these girls and they made their decisions with the information they had. I mean, his loyalty to his best friend and manager, Giant, was his biggest downfall. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been there for his friend and helped him in his situation, but you can't jeopardize everything that's important to you in order to save someone who doesn't want to help themselves. The people around Bleak, in my opinion, aren't really that loyal to him. Most of them really use Bleak for something, further in their career, money, proximity to talent. I'm not saying Bleak was perfect, because he certainly wasn't. But let me be clear. I do not condone a lot of his actions in this movie, but I do think he's a great and realistic character with a lot of charm, and he really does care for those around him. The way this movie turns out, I think, likely leaves people indifferent. Like, what happens as a result of his loyalty was crazy to me. The way his life turns out after things don't necessarily go the way that they were supposed to. I'm sure people wanted a darker ending. I'm sure some didn't like Bleak and wanted the worst for him. But I also think all that can be said in the reverse. And that's what makes this movie great. This movie is one you can have a conversation about afterwards, especially if you're divided within parties. There are many elements that make this movie great. The whole vibe of it just really puts you in a trance. It's got all the Spike signatures, cool shots and set designs, New York City, a very lived in feel, great use of color, and one of the most important, great use of music. At the end of the day, This movie is a love letter to jazz music, to his father, an acclaimed jazz musician who made music for this movie. This love letter to jazz and his father is beautifully composed with some great tunes throughout. You can't help but let the music flow through you. I had a great appreciation to the dedication of this craft. I myself love throwing myself into things I'm into. I get into my stuff, just like making this video. I've been thinking about how I'm going to lay it out for days. When I'm out riding my skateboard or at the gym, I'm in the zone and just so focused on what I'm doing. That's what Bleak does this whole time. His craft, his art, it's everything to him. And I'm the same way. I think that's why I related to him so much. When I'm creating, I just want to be left alone a lot of times. There are so many distractions that keep us from achieving our dreams and making things work. Women, men, friends, addictions, and of course, just everyday regular stuff. But Bleak works hard as hell to be the best at what he does. And there should be some payoff for that, right? That's why when we see the way things go in this movie with him and his number one love, it hurts. It really hurt me. One of my biggest fears is having something I love ripped away from me. Something that makes me me. Something that's a part of my identity. It hurts just thinking about it, that I'm not even going to speak it out loud into existence. But what this movie also shows is that evolution as an adult is important, and that stages of life are important. And just because something doesn't work in one way doesn't mean you can't make it work in another. Sometimes you need loss to make you realize certain things. Just because you can't throw a touchdown pass anymore doesn't mean you can't show someone else how to do it. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, and I realize not every opportunity out there is for me anymore. But I can grow and adjust and find happiness within my abilities and my place in society. And I think this movie shows us that. I just have a sneaking feeling that this aspect of the movie is something that a lot of people don't like about it. It can come off a little unrealistic, and I can acknowledge that criticism given the way the events unfold in the movie. We can argue Bleak would have crashed and burned realistically, not overcoming and not becoming the man he ultimately does. I think a fun thing is to think about what if, though? What if it went the opposite? What would have happened? That would have made for a good one, too. But in my eyes, Bleak was too strong in the mind to not eventually bounce back in one way or another. Maybe I'm wrong about it all. Maybe I'm looking into it too deeply. But I connected with this character and this story in a very strange way and felt he was human. And because of that, he's relatable. The bottom line is this: this is one of Spike's defining movies, at least in my opinion. It's got all of his style and signature tricks in it. It's got that fun, slice of life vibe Spike movies have, while also still being rooted in something real. I once heard Oscar winning director Sean Baker say Spike Lee was one of his biggest inspirations on his movies. And I never saw it in Baker films, but after watching Mo Better Blues, it all clicked for me, and now I fully understand what he meant. Mo Better Blues is kind of that middle movie in the crazy run Spike had from the mid 80s to the mid 90s. And it feels like every one of his movies before and after that for a few years were all rolled into Mo Better Blues. Some She's Gotta Have It, School Days, Malcolm X, Crooklyn, He Got Game, all of them. But this one is special for me. I can't really explain it, but this movie just hit for me in all the right ways. There are plenty of nitpicks we can take from it, plenty of issues, sure, but as a great music movie and a vehicle to show us not only how great Spike was, but how truly great Denzel was going to be, I think this movie is a masterclass of a character study and a love letter to jazz music and a letter to Spike's dad, who is no longer with us. So, my score for this movie may be a bit biased and subjective, but I don't care because I love this movie. So, I'm going to give Mo Better Blues a perfect 10 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching my Mo Better Blues analysis. Let me know if there is a film or topic you'd like me to review. If you made it this far and enjoy the conversation, maybe you can consider subscribing so we can have more of these conversations. If you had a good time but not ready to take that step, that is totally cool, but maybe you can give me a like. If you are a cinephile, go ahead and follow me on Letterboxd. Ralph Vader is linked below. I got a podcast with my buddy, The Cutting Room Floor. I'll link that below for more movie content. I'll be back next week, and don't forget the popcorn.